Welcome to Mainland Cycle Center's new vehicle department. Today I want to show you a 2012 Kawasaki Prairie 360 4x4. This is in the Aztec red. The Prairie 360 is just a really great bike. These are selectable two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. Has a locking front differential. It has a air-cooled with an oil-cooled. It's air and oil-cooled motor. I mean, there's an oil cooler on the front of it. I'm going to show you that here in a minute. Got the racks front and rear. These use a solid rear axle, we call it, swing arm rear suspension. A lot of guys really like this suspension setup because it's simple. There's not a lot to go wrong back here. With the independent suspension bikes, you just have a lot more going on. A-arms, CV axles, CV joints, CV boots, dual shocks, lots of bushings and bearings, so it's just a lot going on. So a lot of guys really like this setup. They ride real nice. I like them. I think they have a little sportier feel to them than the independent rear suspension because you don't have as much body roll. But now, one of the unique things I want to show you on these is the rear brake. And if you'll notice, there's not a rear brake here. There's not a rear brake here. There's not a brake here. There's not a brake here. So where's the brake? The brake is actually right here, and it's a multi-disc wet rear brake. A multi-disc to keep it small in diameter so it doesn't hang down and hurt your ground clearance. The wet brake part of it is the fact that it rides in an oil bath. It rides in the same oil that this ring and pinion gear rides in back here. Because it is enclosed and it's a wet brake like that, it stays very clean and it doesn't wear out. We have yet to replace a set of these rear brakes. We've been building this bike for almost 10 years. So they do really well. Not only that, but they work good too. They stop good. So I'd say works as good as a disc, better than a drum, and you'll probably never replace the rear brakes. So that's just fantastic. You've got your rear shock here. It's adjustable. You can adjust that rear suspension there. Got a little storage box here. There with a little toolkit. You do have the trailer hitch. I'm not sure if I pointed that out, but towing capacity 1,100 pounds. Rear tail light with a brake light. Nice big rear rack. Let's take a look at the front end. Got on the front, it uses hydraulic disc brakes. So you've got a hydraulic disc brake. Uses a McPherson strut front suspension. So if you'll notice, there's just one A-arm. One A-arm here on the front, right down here, and then the strut on the front. There's your oil cooler. Now this has a fan on the oil cooler. Can't really see it, but there is an electric fan on that oil cooler. You can mount a winch on the front of these. The winch would mount right in here. Dual headlights, the low and high beam. Also got a 12-volt power outlet right there. You've also got a recoil start for backup, so you can pull start if the battery's low. Full floorboards on each side, keeps your feet out of the stuff. Alright, let's look at some of the controls. Again, these are automatic, so you just take it out of neutral, put it in high, low, reverse, and give it the gas and go. No shifting. There's your ignition switch right there. Just turn that on. Selectable two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. With it, when you're in two-wheel drive, just the rear wheels are driving. When you put it in four-wheel drive, now you engage the front end. The front end is a limited slip front differential. What the limited slip is going to do is it's going to do its very best to send power to the wheel that has traction. Now what you'll find is that sometimes you may be in a situation where you're not getting full power to both wheels like you'd like. So this has a locking front differential. Right here it says, if we can get to focus, front differential control. So you just pull this lever and hold it, and that locks the front differential. Now you only need that usually for a few seconds at a time to get through the mud hole or up the hill or through the gully you're going through. There's no reason to hold this and drive down the trail, because if you can drive down the trail, you've got good traction. You don't need the front differential locked. But nice and simple, just pull it and hold it, get you through what you're going through, let it off, and you're back to normal. And the reason you don't want it locked all the time is that the steering is heavier. It's harder to steer when that differential is locked. So Well, let's go ahead and look at these handlebar controls. We've got headlights off, low beam and high beam, your start button, your engine off and run, and then this is an override, and that is for the reverse limiter. These have a reverse limiter that limits how fast they'll go in reverse. But if you want to override that reverse limiter, push and hold this button and you'll override that reverse limiter. And then there's your choke. And I want to tell you one other thing about the headlights. You've got off, low beam, and high beam. You know, some guys have figured out that if you get this switch in just the right spot between low beam and high beam, you can get the low beam and the high beam on at the same time. You really don't want to do that because there's a good chance you'll melt your headlights. They're just too hot with both beams on. So when they come in and they have melted headlights, we generally know what happens. So don't do it. Low beam or high beam, but not both. And then neutral light, oil light, reverse light, check belt warning light. If you have any kind of a fault with the belt, that light will turn on. And then four-wheel drive light tells you that you're in four-wheel drive. Okay. Let's see, what else? 25-inch tall tires, 12-inch wheels on it. Little mud flap. These are really great performing bike. I personally own one of these. I also own some 650s. And I can tell you, when we go ride at some of the off-road parks and stuff, the Prairie 360 will go everywhere that the 650s and 750s will go. Now, yes, the 650s and 750s have a lot more power, a lot more speed. I like to say they have some want to in them, but this has to do anything that you need to do. This is a really great machine. There you have it. That's the 2012 Prairie 360 4x4 in Aztec Red. We are Mainland Cycle Center, and we're located about 30 minutes south of downtown Houston, just off of I-45 in LaMarque, Texas. Our website is mainlandcyclecenter.com. Our phone number is 409-948-4969. Give us a call, shoot us an email. We'd love to help any way we can. Hey, thanks for watching our video.